Have our newspaper here. Thank you so much for being here, man. All right, folks, it's 5 o'clock. And we're going to go ahead and open, we'll go ahead and start. I'm going to start with the invocation. The Pledge of Allegiance to be led by Councilman Armijo. Please bow with me. Dear Lord, thank you for being with us and for loving us. We ask that you keep our Director of Operations and his family in your arms as they grieve the loss of a family member. We pray for your continued guidance in our lives, and may we have love in our hearts as we enjoy your bounty. This we most humbly pray in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Council's now in session. I thank everybody for being here for our monthly meeting. This is our working meeting. Good to have everybody here for it. And I'm sorry we still have to do this method. We really don't have much choice. You know, Centerville's been doing a great job of getting people, of keeping the COVID under control. And personally, I really appreciate what Centerville has done. Okay, we'll start out with old business. Item number 1 is East Coast Pyrotechnics Incorporated Agreement. Councilman Evans and Director of Marketing Hogan. Councilman Evans is not here yet, but Director Hogan, can you give us a brief on it?
Yes, sir, absolutely. In front of you, you guys have a copy of the contract for East Coast Pyrotechnics, who is supposed to be doing our Independence Day fireworks show. It was signed on February 19th this year. Unfortunately, I wish we could go back to February and predict all of the craziness that has been the past few months, but we cannot. And so right now, I'm just looking for guidance from Mayor and Council in their decision. We had hopes that we were able to push this fireworks show later on in the year to maybe our Center Park grand opening, but as weather is turning cold and COVID does not seem to be letting up, it is just the event committee suggestions to push this to July 4th of next year. The price to push this contract is $1,300. This contract itself is worth $9,000 worth of pyrotechnics. So I'm just looking for some direction from Mayor and Council this evening.
Okay, at this portion, Councilman Evans is now here with us. Councilman Evans, do you have a motion you want to make on this?
When we're getting close to the time we need to make this decision, correct?
Yes, sir. So if we don't use this fireworks this year, we will be charged that $1,300 as we're approaching the end of our event season. And as we don't have a set date for Center Park grand opening, I think it would be proactive for Mayor and Council to possibly just push this to next year so that the decision's not made for us.
So I move that we do just that.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion from anybody? It seems like the best alternative. We're going to have a really good July the 4th next year.
Yes,
Because
sir.
I look for everything to be over with by then, thank goodness.
Only bad thing about that is, Mr. Mayor, you do something like that and you spoil the folks and they want it every time.
We've been slowly upping our fireworks budget over the past few years, and so I think we should be able to sustain this with the growth in Center Park.
Good point. Good point. Okay, I'll call for the motion. All in favor, raise your right hand. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much. Okay. Next item we have here is on the new business proclamation. And that's Red Ribbon Week. So I'm going to read the proclamation here. This is one of the things that I love getting an opportunity to read these every year. Because this is such an important thing, you know, that's living drug-free, that's what it is. So, I'm gonna go ahead and read this. Executive Department, City of Centerville Proclamation, Red Ribbon Week Proclamation. Whereas communities across America have been plagued by the numerous problems associated with illicit drug use and those that traffic in them. And whereas there is hope in winning the war on drugs, and that hope lies in education and drug demand reduction, coupled with the hard work and determination of organizations such as the Middle Georgia Young Marines of the Marine Corps League to foster a healthy, drug-free lifestyle. And whereas governments and community leaders know that citizen support is one of the most effective tools in the effort to reduce the use of illicit drugs in our communities. And whereas the red ribbon has been chosen as a symbol commemorating the work of Enrique Kiki Camarena, a drug enforcement administrative special agent who was murdered in the line of duty and represented the belief that one person could make a difference. And whereas the Red Ribbon Campaign was established by Congress in 1988 to encourage a drug-free lifestyle and involvement in drug prevention and reduction efforts, and whereas October 23 to the 31st, 2020 has been designated National Red Ribbon Week, which encouraged Americans to wear a red ribbon to show their support for a drug-free environment. Now therefore, I, John R. Harley, Mayor, do hereby proclaim October 23rd, 31st, 2020 as Red Ribbon Week in Centerville, Georgia, and urge all citizens to join me in this special observance. You know, this is something here that I enjoy wearing because it's very important for our communities and all. And I appreciate the young Marines here in Warner Robins who've done a great job of sponsoring that this year, doing a great job with it. And those who want to know something about the young Marines, you can contact me. I'll be happy to tell you about them. You know, I've been over to a few of their events, and they get young people in there, and they sort of set up a Marine type environment and semi-uniforms and things. But it's helped a great number of kids in our community. Great opportunity for them. Okay. Item number 3 is discussion of the Centerville Lighted Christmas Parade. And I have that one. But I'm going to let Director Marketing Hogan talk to us about it a little bit.
Yes, sir. So Centerville has an event committee. It's comprised of our chief of police, our chief of fire, our public works director, our city clerk, our event coordinator, and myself, along with members of mayor and council. We met last week, as we have been for the past 2 months, or every other month, just to address events in the changing culture of COVID-19. And during the discussion, we talked diligently about the 2020 Lighted Christmas Parade. And it is the event committee's suggestion to mayor and council to cancel this year's Christmas parade out of abundance of caution for our staff and for our residents and visitors who know and love this event. It's really hard to keep 5,000 to 10,000 people off of the streets when throwing candy, much less also social distancing and also wearing masks. And so I just really appreciate mayor and council's consideration on this important matter.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion on this matter.
Mayor, this just says it's an item for discussion, so are we
That's true.
moving on it, or is this just the decision that has been made and we're discussing it?
Well, we need to make a decision fairly soon. We could wait till November if you want to do it. First meeting in November.
Is there any vendor deadlines or anything coming up that we need to do this immediately?
We chose this October, about mid-October, to address these issues just because there have been significant questions, and this is kind of the end-all be-all time that we can make the decision to have it or to not have it, to give our staff at least a month, maybe a little bit more, to be able to execute an event of this magnitude. I know Ms. Bettingfield advised during the event committee meeting that she actually would have started the process already, and she's had a few vendors reach out to her. Director Brumfield and I talked with a couple of vendors, and they are not participating even if we do have the parade, just because they're already staggering their employees, and to have a float in our parade, they have to have all of their employees together. So I think, I hate to say, but we did wait until the 11th hour just to make sure that.
We're not only worried about being able to socially distance the people who would attend the parade, we're also concerned that we might not have a good number of participants. Yeah,
Yes,
that
sir.
makes sense. Okay.
So I think at this point in time, the event committee did suggest to cancel this parade. We're just looking for mayor and council's,
As much as I hate to do that,
Yeah.
because it's an event that's enjoyed by so many, so far, so near, so often, once a year. I think we're probably just gonna end up having to do that. I don't know if it's necessarily something that we have to vote on. But
I would point out that the governor's executive order still does not permit gatherings of more than 50 people, so,
Okay, so then, hey, there it is,
I mean, there is that.
there it is, so.
I wouldn't lean too heavily on that with our cancellation, because I think that that could certainly change before, it doesn't seem likely, but it certainly could. And so I don't think you want to we wouldn't want to paint yourself into a corner where we said, because of the executive order, we're canceling the executive
No,
order.
but
Yeah.
we
Lapses,
can't,
and then people say, well, why are we having it? So I think that we just say that
Well,
we can't
it's health
plan
and
for it
safety,
right
we
now.
move
but
forward.
at that point, we couldn't execute it,
Yeah,
so,
I think
yeah, I think so.
I will say you guys won't be alone in this decision that you guys are making. Perry has decided to cancel their parade. I believe Rigby's will follow suit, and also Macon did announce today, Dublin Lawrence County canceled theirs. Milledgeville Baldwin County has also canceled.
So there's gonna be no fun this fall, is what you're telling
I'm
me?
not saying that.
that's right.
we have the record reflect that Kate Hogan has canceled Christmas.
No.
We just have the record
Yes,
reflect
sir.
that.
The Bruce,
All over middle Georgia.
No, thank
No, we're just-
you.
If you want
It's
mayor,
mixed,
if
but
you
it's
want
what's
to
going
make
on.
sure
Yeah.
you vote, it's fine to do that.
Talking to our attorney here, a motion and a vote would be a good thing to do.
So moved that we cancel Christmas, the Christmas parade.
Christmas parade.
Before we vote, Mayor, I'd like to acknowledge the committee for taking the bull by the horns and advising us on their decision. I think that was very good on their part to do what they did and to lean forward towards it. So.
Should we discuss changing this sample announcement that we have in here? Because I gotta tell you, this reads like Mayor Harley canceled Christmas.
So can we get a second on my motion?
I second.
Oh, I did thought we had one, so.
Got a second, that's okay.
Well, it'd be all of us. All I did was bring it up for discussion because I was approached to talk about it.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, we don't want you to be the one to look
Yeah,
like
I'm gonna put a target on your back.
Yeah.
It's
I know.
a citywide decision, so.
Yeah, it's a citywide decision. It's one that we all hate. I mean, I remember when I was here when we had our very first Christmas parade. It's gotten bigger and better every year and enjoyed by a lot more people every year. It's been absolutely a wonderful event. And it breaks my heart to say that we're going to have to cancel it. It breaks my heart. Okay, I'll call for the motion. I hate to say the word in favor.
All willing to accept.
All willing to accept it, go ahead and raise your right hand. All right. All opposed?
Don't vote against it and make us all look bad.
That's all right. You want to vote.
Thank you.
Did you
Okay.
vote no, Cameron?
I did.
You did.
That's all.
Lord.
Thank you, Councilman Evans. I do appreciate that support.
All right, item number 4 is support and information. Fire Department donated funds, Councilman Armijo and Chief Jones, please.
Yes, sir, I'm going to defer this to Chief Jones to discuss.
Thank you, Councilman Armijo, Mayor. Tonight, I'm going to get a point of information for you guys on some donated funds that the fire department will be spending on a couple of items. The first item is a Connect type storage shipping container box, similar to what we already have at the training grounds. We found one at the Robbins Air Force Base VRMO. Normally, these types of containers for a used one is about $3,000. We found one out there for $850. So we're going to use some of those, our donated funds for that. When we can go get it, we were supposed to go get it tomorrow, but they have an outbreak of COVID in that department, so they have to wait 14 days, 14. So when we go get it, the next few weeks, we'll purchase that. And then in the near future, we're also going to purchase a utility trailer so we can haul the department's lawnmower and ATV unit when we need, just really tonight, just point of information that we, spending some of that money, donated funds, and of course, when we get, the quotes on the trailer, I'll get 3 quotes and give those to Ms. Carroll, and we'll purchase it, trailer, best needed suited for our needs.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Chief, I might note that, you're getting that from the DRMO, Defense Redistribution and Marketing Organization out there, which is a tenant on the base. And it's not part of the main base itself, and it's off in the back section. So,
Well, we,
what I'm trying to say, they have COVID in that one section in there, I
had
understand?
to close that one
But
section.
they have to close that one little section down, but it's not impacting the remainder of the
That's
base.
correct, that's
That's
correct.
right.
But anyway, we just got on that website. I've had to take a class to get, but I'll keep an eye out for any other type of equipment we may need. So,
Okay, thank you.
Excellent idea. Thank you so much for doing that.
yes, sir, thank you.
All right, get discussion, Trellis Fork reconstruction project.
City
Myself,
council's gonna handle it.
city clerk will handle that?
City county.
County, okay. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Mayor. In your folder tonight, there is an estimate, for the Trellis Walk reconstruction. There's 2 quotes, one for full depth reclamation and then one to remove and replace subgrade with GAB and repave. The full depth reclamation is $133,627. I believe that is the estimate that we are looking at. And I understand that there's been a lot of conversation that this road is in dire need of this reclamation. I did want to point out that Director of Operations Brumfield did just want me to emphasize that this is an estimate, and we're not really going to know the true cost until the project is bid, and Mr. Saunders is working on getting that bid ready. He also stated that this may or may not fix the actual problem, or it may fix it for 5, 10, or 15 years. So he just wanted me to also mention that. But his recommendation was the first estimate for $133,627.
He said the first one, when he was talking to me, the first one is as good as, if not better than the second one.
Really?
So, that makes sense.
One
There
other,
was some- go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
One other point I just wanted to make, the mayor had asked me about funding source. And as I looked at that, we'll have $35,000 from the SPLOST 18, and then $100,000 from water and sewer unrestricted net position, which would be $100,000.
I do want to add that Director Brumfield did say earlier today, just so that we've stated this publicly, made it clear that, and this is just to quote what he sent all of us earlier today, not only will we not know the true cost until the project is completely bid, as Carol said, but also it said this work may or may not fix the problem long term. This road has significant underground water issues that may show again in 5, 10, 15 years. We can really only do this and hope for the best. We don't really have any way of, we don't have any guarantee that this is going to be a long-term fix for what is essentially a kind of a watershed area over there that makes it very difficult to not just keep having things wash out from underneath it and create additional problems.
It's always fun.
Yeah, well, it's
Yep.
just, it's a bad area over there, and it's going to be. But it's a bad area. It's that geographically, it's difficult to have without. I think we have another area in the same kind of region of the city that has a similar problem, and I asked Mike one time if we could fix it. He's like, "Yeah, we can. You can fix it forever. It would just be unbelievably expensive to try to fix it in a permanent way." So this is, for the time being, this is our best. I think this is our best solution.
Carol, I have a question. Can we spend some stormwater revenue on this, or are we gonna spend, where's it come from?
Well, it would come, $100,000 from water and sewer and $35,000 from SPLOST, where we do have, some money in our road, streets,
That's fine.
project.
We need to do it. I'm not saying I'm not against it.
Yeah.
I just figured that stormwater might be a good candidate.
Yeah, can we use?
I don't know that we could really use stormwater
I-
for the paving or.
Mike checked on that, and Mike said it cannot be done legally.
It's not actually a stormwater issue, it's an
Right.
underground water
Okay,
issue,
in the discussion.
a spring.
Well, that water started in the storm. I mean, it's still an act of God. We can't twist the rules a little bit to make that work. I mean, what else we can use stormwater for?
I tried to get Mike to do that, and he said, there's just no way we
It's
can do
a
it.
spring water problem.
Well,
not a
we're
storm.
politicians, we ought to be able to.
I think the stormwater is for the water and sewer infrastructure, piping and things like that.
So, but I'll also mention, I think this is, something that's been sort of temporarily repaired all along for years. And even if it lasts 5 years, it's better than what they're doing with every day of the problem, so. And I know that the citizens, are really looking forward to us, moving forward with this, so.
No.
No, I was gonna entertain a motion next.
Mayor, motion that we do the work and
Pay for that.
take our medicine
But
with whatever it may be.
I second.
Okay, have a motion and a second, any
Well,
further
let-
discussion?
yeah, let me just say this: is it premature to adopt this until we actually have bids and we know what it's really going to cost? We want to instruct them to move ahead with it, but do we need to vote on it and approve it until we know what the actual cost is going to be?
It'll come back to us.
This is close, I think this is the engineer's estimate.
Right.
Right, and I think if you approve to move forward with the bid and then if we need to revisit the funding source, I think that would.
I feel better about that. I just don't like voting to approve a number that we don't know what it is yet.
I understand.
You're not, I don't think that, I think the request is not to approve the number, just to give you an estimate, but to put it actually out to bid.
Okay, so as long as the motion is to authorize them to move forward and collect bids and return them, then that's fine.
Yeah, that's
I don't
correct.
have any issue with that.
That's correct, because we're gonna have to come back and approve the project.
Absolutely, the contract.
So basically what he's done is, a motion, to put the bid out.
That's correct, yes.
That's right.
Go up to the first step.
Yeah, that's good.
All right, have the motion, have a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, raise your right hand. That's unanimous, thank you very much. I know they're gonna be very, very happy to hear that we were finally able to get something. It just took a while for the engineers to get their studies together. And we've been working on it for a while, we've already spent a fair amount of money on the engineering studies. That's just the way it is. Our citizens deserve the best we can get them. Okay, item number 6 is City of Centerville Workplace Wellness Policy. Councilman Evans and Director of Marketing Hogan, please.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. Health and wellness is a discussion everywhere. And the health and wellness of our citizens and our employees is top of our mind. And so I'm gonna let Director Hogan go ahead and explain the details of this wellness policy that we're gonna put in place. I think we also got a grant that's gonna help us to be able to implement some programs. And if you would just tell us about that also, we'd appreciate it.
Yes, we were fortunate this year to receive for the second time the Georgia Municipal Association Risk Management Group their wellness grant, and so we have the opportunity to implement just some internal employee health and wellness programs. And part of the terms and stipulations of this grant proceeds, which we've already received our first check of $2,500, received a second check of $2,500 in January. But part of that is to adopt a workplace wellness policy. This policy is standard language from GMA and also the program coordinator. Miss Becky and Miss Krista haven't had a chance to look over it. And so this evening, I'm just looking for you all to approve the workplace wellness policy so we can be in compliance with the grant requirements for our employees to have a little bit of health and wellness.
So, Mr. Mayor, I move that we accept this wellness policy so that we can be in compliance with the grant.
I second it.
Motion and second, any further discussion? Okay, we all need to sign this now, and it has to be attested to, so Krista, you're gonna do that, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all in favor, raise your right hand. All right, that's unanimous.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you so much, too.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we insert an item before the current item number 7 and make the current item number 7 number 8. And that motion would be to declare property surplus out of the police department for item number 7, and then item number 8, of course, will be the form of information that's currently included on the agenda.
Okay, that'd be a resolution, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
What?
Yes.
Number 7, it will be a resolution.
Yes.
Number 7 becomes a resolution, and number 8 becomes a new point of information there. Okay, I have a motion. I hear a second.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, raise your hand. All right. It's unanimous. Thank you so much.
Mayor, apologize for us not getting this on there, kind of the cart before the horse, but I'd like to, now motion that we declare this particular property, Chevrolet Tahoe, serial number 1GNLC2E C7FR 25283 with a mileage of 47,678 miles as surplus. And the following, point of information will, cover the bases on that.
We got a motion.
Have a motion, have a second?
Second.
Okay. This is one that's finally reached its life expectancy.
Yes.
It needs to
Still
go.
has some value, so it's time to go.
Right, it still has value.
Which
Okay.
is gonna help us, and we'll hear about that in the form of information.
Yeah. All right, all in favor, raise your right hand.
Mayor, before we move on to number 8, can we move to add an additional item, item number 9, to discuss the change of the next council meeting date? We discussed that earlier. The next council meeting is scheduled to take place on election day.
Okay, I have a
That's being
motion.
polling place, we had discussed, yeah, so.
Right. Have a motion, a new item number 9.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second.
We
That's
can
something we're
discuss
gonna have
that.
to do.
We can discuss that after the point of information.
Right. So let's go ahead and, all in favor, raise your right hand. That's unanimous. Yep. Okay, we're gonna add that to as item number 9.
Mr. Mayor, if I will, if you would like, I can give a status of the police department of where we're at on that, on, new information, road information.
On number 8, the new number 8.
Well, yeah, number 8 is gonna be the, that's the next item, which is point of information, the approval of the police department expenditure of 3 vehicles. That's, Councilman Andrews and you. So you wanna go ahead and give us that?
Yes, sir.
All right.
I'm gonna let Corporal, Chris White discuss, defer to him, and, then after he makes his comments, I would like to make a couple of comments if I may.
We're asking for 3 Explorers from Brandon Motor Company. They've offered to give us $18,000 per Tahoe for the 3 Tahoes. 2 will be for patrol. The cost of both of those will be around $58,000. Those vehicles will come fully equipped, so we wouldn't have to go outsource anywhere else to get them equipped. The only other thing we would have to do is get letters put on them. And we've already talked to the event guys here in Centerville to do that for us. They estimate about $360 to do the letters for those 2. The third one will be an investigation vehicle, and with the equipment on that one, it'll be $23,352. We do ask, I think we talked, in the SPLOST budget, there's $50,000. We want to ask that we move the money from the machinery and equipment line to the vehicle line to cover this expense.
Okay. Councilman Andrews, you have a motion?
So moved. Second.
All right. So the motion will be all the things you covered. Christie, you got that down?
Yes. From what I understand, we will have to do a budget amendment, right, Carol? To
That's
move that over
correct.
to a different line,
Right.
but
That's
it's in their
correct.
budget.
In the police department, in the general fund, we move, some money from machinery and
Okay.
equipment to vehicles.
I know we purchased some Chargers earlier this year, and like I said, one time, my understanding, the plan was to move to the whole fleet being
Well,
charged. What is
and
the?
these are gonna be white, correct, with the same,
Yes, sir.
yeah, they're gonna be the same.
Yeah. I'm just curious as to what the decision to go with the Explorers over the Chargers.
Won't fit in the truck.
Fair enough. Is there a significant cost
Well,
difference?
no, there's really not.
Won't fit in the truck.
I mean, my thought on the two, I don't particularly care for getting rid of the Tahoes. I just like the way they look, but don't get me wrong. But Ford, for years, has put together a police package that really, to me, does a whole lot better than anybody else. And when you get in, if you wear what he's wearing, and you really don't have everything on. If you have a patrol officer that gets in it, there's the way the offsets are. I've sat in the vehicle, and it's just you can get in and get out of it a whole lot better. It's just more user friendly than
So
a
the
car.
cost is pretty comfortable.
It's very comparable.
The reason why Brandon Motor Company is because they have the ability to outfit the vehicles there.
Yeah.
So we can take the Tahoes, straight to them, and when they get them in, they say they should be in next week or before the first. And then it would take about 2 weeks to outfit all three of them. But so when they call and say they're ready, they'll be road ready.
And I think the price that you got for the trade-in on that was $18.
Yes, sir.
I think we've actually sold one of those to another private entity for maybe $19 or $20 maybe.
They didn't buy it,
They didn't buy it. Okay. I think you're getting a pretty decent deal
but that
on
was
the
last
trade-in.
year, right?
That's fiscal year.
We sold one last year.
We did sell one last year.
1 month.
Yeah, but not, remember the two that, we had the two this year for sale, we just didn't sell those.
Correct, yes, sir.
And the budget amendment that we'll have to do is just to change the line item. We're not allocating any more funds, correct?
That's right.
I'm good.
And thank you for putting that together, Corporal White. You did a good job. If you guys have seen that. I know you've seen that, and I've seen it. But it's,
Okay.
Captain wants to talk. Captain wants to talk.
Okay, wait, I got a motion and a second. We haven't voted yet.
Right, but I think he wants to talk.
You wanna talk before we vote on, you wanna talk about the cars?
No, sir.
You wanna talk about something else?
Okay. Yeah, you
Okay.
do have a motion in a second.
All right, motion and a second. Any further discussion from anybody? Okay, all in favor, raise your right hand. All right, unanimous, thank you so much.
I would like to echo Councilman Andrews on his statement. Corporal Chris White done an excellent job on putting this package together. And Corporal White is an excellent employee and an excellent police officer. He does a very good job at the Centerville Police Department and very dedicated. And I would like to address the mayor and council and let y'all know what type of caliber person he is. Also, I would like to give you a status of the police department. We currently have a clearing to hire one officer, Michaela Harris, out of Cordell, Georgia. And she's been through her screening and physicals and all. And her start date is, I believe, November the 4th, in which by that day she will be sworn in. And to change gears just a little bit and give you a status on where we're at the police department. We have filled that one position, and we're looking at starting the command staff, rebuilding it now. Whether it be a captain or a lieutenant or what have you. I'm currently talking with the chief and the chief sheriff and the chief deputy of the sheriff's office and seeing what avenue would be best to take on this. But also I would like to say that I spoke with the mayor, I believe it was yesterday, and each day we're going to give the mayor a report of the prior day's activity for the police department from both shifts, type calls that we have, so on and so forth, this is forwarded to me every day, and I felt that the mayor should know about it too, of what goes on in the city. But I would like to open this up to council too. If you would like an email and a copy of the police activity for the prior day, I would be glad to send it. I feel like that, and I can't talk on the prior staff at the police department, but me personally, I feel that it's important that you, as council and mayor, knows what goes on in your city, and you should be involved into it in that aspect. And we're going to make sure that you are involved in it and you know what's going on. And in ending, I would like to thank mayor and council for entrusting me in building this command staff and, trying to help you. And I'll certainly, do what I can to, pull this together, and you can have a solid department. Because you do have a solid department. You have a lot of good officers that are over there that are dedicated. And, I just wanted to address the mayor and council on that. And, certainly we can help you in the future, whether it's an issue, criminal issue, or if it's a code violation. Certainly give us a call, and, we'll do what we can. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, next item we have on here is a look at a regular council meeting, changing the date on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just had a discussion earlier today, Mayor, about how being that, November the 3rd is the next regularly scheduled council meeting. It will be 7 o'clock. We'll be right in the middle of, election day. We are, the only precinct here in the city of Centerville, and it's my understanding that everyone who is in line by 7 p.m. will be allowed to vote. And we can certainly have a large amount of people in the lobby waiting to get outside. I think that in what has already been a hectic season, election-wise, it would be prudent for us to not provide any other further distraction or spectacle on election day. So I think that we should consider moving the meeting to the following Thursday. I would recommend that we have that time be at 5 p.m. That way we can handle the business of the city but also keep the city hall clear on election day.
So you said move to November 5th?
Yes, I believe that's correct.
Okay, I have a motion.
Second.
Okay, the motion is to change it from November the 3rd to November the 5th, and to change the timing from 7 p.m. to 5 p.m. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. Anybody have any discussion on that? I think it's an absolutely wonderful idea, because I know there's going to be a lot going on here, and we certainly don't want to be interfering with the people who are trying to vote that evening. Just, having a lot more people in here and more vehicles around the building during that time period, it's going to be.
And I don't think we would interfere with it, but there's no reason to risk it. You know.
Yeah, I agree.
Mayor, I would add that when we were talking about it this morning, Chris is gonna help with kind of keeping things the way they need to be going in there. The county board of elections will be holding elections, but we're gonna need, PD, we discussed that with Captain Harlow, and Chief Jones gonna have people on standby if we have a medical emergency, and it's gonna be kind of keeping people at a distance, but not preventing them from being able to get in and out safely. So, I think there'll be a fair amount of staff involvement all the way up to the end of the voting, so.
And Mayor, if it'd be appropriate to discuss it here, I think that we should go ahead and instruct the staff to go ahead and schedule another professional cleaning of City Hall the day after Election Day, or as soon as possible thereafter, because you're just going to have a lot of people in the building that day. And we found some pretty competitive rates from the vendor that's been doing the fogging that we've been doing. So I think there's a reason for us not to go ahead and get that scheduled and have it ready to go as soon as Election Day is over.
I had actually, if I may, Mayor, I had talked with, the gentleman with Eco Basin is the company, and, scheduled for the 29th. So that'll be next Thursday.
Well, that would be before Election Day.
I know.
They're going to do one afterwards.
I think
too.
I need to do before. I think we should do before and after.
Right, that's what we do.
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna say, it's like, he'll do the whole building, because we were scheduled to do that anyway. It lasts 90 days, and then after the election, then he can come back in, and we talked about it this morning, what last did you talk about? To do the lobby, the bathrooms, the community room, because that's where everybody's gonna be.
That's
Not
great.
the entire building, if that's okay with
That's
you.
great. That's perfect. Chris.
Okay, okay, so
Yeah.
on the 29th, I'll reach back out to him for that.
I get what you're saying. I
It's
wouldn't
all
follow
the
you on
buildings
whole
on the
building.
29th.
The whole building?
All the bills on the 29th and on the
Yeah, all of our buildings.
Yeah,
yes.
and then on the
Yeah.
day after the election, and you'll come and do this building.
And
here.
I will reach out to him tomorrow, and we'll get that taken care of.
Perfect.
Taken care of. Okay. All right, let's back to the motion and the second, which we already have. Any further discussion on the subject? Hearing none, all in favor, raise your right hands. All right, that's now unanimous too. That means our formal council meeting for November will be on November the 5th at 5 p.m. here at this location as we're doing today. All right, we're down to comments from the council. I'll go with post 1,
Thank you, Mayor. No comments.
post 2,
No comments, Mayor. Thank you.
post 3,
No comment, Mr. Mayor.
post 4.
Okay, so just wanted to share with you some updates on the fire station, the new fire station. Flint Energies is working on moving power lines so the power poles in the way of the retention pond can be moved. Construction crews are working on the foundation. Foundation concrete footers are poured and completed. Plumbers are working on laying pipe in the ground before the concrete slabs is poured. Second thing I want to discuss is Fire Prevention Week. The firefighters visited Centerville First Baptist Church, Centerville Elementary School, and Centerville Head Start. Firefighters had the fire truck on display and conducted friendly fighter activities with social distancing practices. The department's 9th annual fundraising golf tournament was held October the 9th with great success. The department raised over $5,000 during the event for the Muscular Dystrophy Association, which I think is great. And I don't know if y'all seen the newspaper, but recently there was an article published by the House and Home Journal on our Centerville Boy Scout Troop 400. You know, all these different activities are struggling trying to recruit folks to participate and get involved. And I just wanted to thank House and Home Journal for reaching out and doing that article. It helps everybody in the community as well as these young men who they try to develop into strong leaders. And so thank you very much. And that's all I have, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. The census is over, as everybody knows, and Centerville is number 1 in Houston County. We stayed number 1 from the beginning, stay all the way through the end. You know, I appreciate our citizens out there. We're at over 70%. I can't remember exactly, 70-something%, 72.3%. And the state did 64.7, something like that, 64 point something for the state. So we're far above the state percentage. And thank you, residents. And thank you so much for your participation. Okay, at this point, I'll call for, on the executive session, call for motion.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we go into executive session for personnel matters and potential pending litigation.
I'll second that motion.
Motion second, all in favor? Thank you so much. We're going to close long enough to go in for executive session.
Yeah, that's how that
Oh,
would
man.
be.
I thought they wanted to come back to me anytime, so ticket before. We're not doing that.
Let Becky do her immature air impression here. Told Becky and Chris that we fired them while they were back there.
And where was the store?
Okay.
Where was the store this afternoon? Now, when the captain department started.
Never heard such a sight.
Yes.
I told Becky, I said, "What y'all do out there?"
Oh my God. So entertain a motion to.
Everybody back? Okay, council's back in session. Entertain a motion.
So moved.
All right.
Second.
Or affidavit of resolution. All in favor, right hand.
Thank you.
Oh, he raised his left hand.
You're there.
There we go.
Your right hand, personally appear before the undersigned testing officer duly authorized to administer oath, Mayor Harley, who after being duly sworn deposes and states on oath the following. You presided over tonight's meeting, October 20th, that the law requires any portion of a meeting required to be open to the public that is closed. The presiding officer must execute and file with the official minutes an affidavit stating the exceptions allowed by Georgia law tonight. Exceptions were personnel matters and potential for pending litigation. Do you so swear?
I so swear.
That's it.
Okay, council meeting's over. Thank y'all so much.